lot of the times I'll film stuff and I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. When I'm editing it, I get to like see what it all meant.
Forget YouTuber. Natalie Lynn is a serious filmmaker, and her films are these raw, vulnerable journal entries about what it means to grow up and find ourselves.
And you just have like 500 lacy hard drives.
Hey guys, it's
Natalie started making videos on her iPod Touch at 13 years old, and since then her films have evolved and matured into something really special, but she's still a scrappy innovator.
I got like a $15 like sunlight lamp.
Her newest series, Borderless, is a poignant and beautifully shot series of short films that show a new chapter of her artistry.
I think the color on this video took me like over 30 hours. I definitely think my younger self would be proud.
This is insane that this exists on YouTube.
I also bought a fog machine.
Shut up!
It's literally like duct taped on in the shot.
Natalie is here today, and we're reverse engineering her process to figure out how she can turn a mountain of footage into something that feels like a real movie.
Thermal cover's closed.
Can you tell us what we're about to watch? Like, what is this?
It was a project that was in the works for over a year. And it basically was just kind of showing the yin and yang of life, because I went through something really difficult at the beginning of last year. It just changed my life. So I tried to kind of contrast the two stories back to back.
Cool.
We're bringing the dance party outside, guys. Let's do it.
Still sleeping, wondering about me, and I try my best to embrace the darkness.
I didn't know it in this moment, but everything was about to end. I know nothing in life is meant to last forever. Everything eventually ends in one way or another.
This is insane. This is insane that this exists on YouTube. It's so different from everything else. It's so patient. The color correction is beautiful.
Thank you so
The
much.
sound design is incredible. Where does this vision come from?
I don't know. I think a lot of it is like intuition. Like sometimes I don't really even know why I'm like, oh, this just feels right. A lot of like playing around in the editing. Like a lot of the times I'll film stuff and I don't know what I'm going to do with it until I am editing.
Can I ask about some of the, I'll just get like a little nerdy, some of these details, like
Eventually ends
the sound design.
one way or another. And that's the beauty of it all.
That laughing and the sort of muffled sound design. It seems like a lot of your stuff, there's like a low pass filter on production dialogue and audio and these like joyful experiences. And that feels like incredibly cinematic to me. Is that something that just happens? Like, is there a microphone that's under a suitcase or something? Or are you actually like muffling the audio in post-production?
I do muffle it a lot. That's one of my favorite things to do with like sound design when I'm trying to create like a nostalgic feeling.
It really makes it feel old and nostalgic and like something that happened a long time ago. It makes it feel like a memory.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's very intentional on your part.
Yeah, I try to like that. The audio in this clip is not actually the audio from this clip, if that makes sense. Like it's just kind of a mix of a bunch of different audios, and like again, it's just I feel like it's like intuition. Like I don't even understand why I wanted that shot to have like laughing over it, but it just felt right.
Yeah, it's this wonderful mix of like really sad things, like that choral track that's playing in the background as well. And then also the laughter is like this really like, and the shot is like, it clearly looks like this really fun thing. But then the way it's shot, like the silhouetted background just feels very dark and dramatic. And it just all adds up to this like very complex feeling. I almost like imagine you editing this like in a dark room by yourself, just in the zone.
Yes.
Like crafting until you get just the feeling that you want. That's what it feels like as somebody watching this. It feels like you just are making these moments just exactly what it feels like in you is what it seems like to me.
Yeah, definitely a lot of like hours just spent alone in my room, like in hermit mode, self-isolation, not talking to anyone.
Yeah. Well, let's keep watching.
Life really is this series of fleeting moments, emotions, and experiences. I guess I just could have never imagined this all ending in the way it did.
Okay. How do you think about that first part of a video? Like what are you trying to accomplish in that first minute?
I mean, with that, I think I was trying to make it very mysterious, or feel like you don't know what's going to happen next, but it's like something is building up. And also just giving context behind the next clip, because obviously I don't want to start the video off with that.
Yeah. And then can we talk a little bit about the color grading? I feel like I'm watching a Jean-Pierre Jeunet film. Like, it feels like I'm watching Amélie. Like, the whites are tinted yellow. It feels like so stylized. Do you color correct every shot? Are you going clip by clip? Like, do you do them all at once? How do you get such a consistent look across the whole thing?
I really appreciate that you think it's consistent, because by the end of this color grading, I was like losing my mind. I was like, I actually tried to hire like a colorist for this film, but it didn't work out because I didn't shoot this video in S-Log 3. But I shot with like a picture profile with a bunch of baked in LUTs, so it kind of ruined like a lot of it, I think, just because it didn't have a lot of detail.
So does that mean you're looking at a LUT on the screen? So you don't have to see the sort of milky looking footage, because you get to, like, when you're composing the shot, you get to look what it would look like if it were actually corrected.
I shot this video at least with a lot of like baked in like contrasts and like sharpness. So without like the coloring part, but just like so it's not completely flat.
Yeah.
But then I do the color in post-production, and I think the color on this video took me like over 30 hours. Because I did every shot individually because I just wanted it to look as cohesive as possible, but I still don't feel like it actually looks very cohesive. So I'm starting to shoot in S-Log 3 from now on, so I can actually like take the coloring more seriously. But appreciate that you like the color.
And is this footage from, it looks like it's footage from, over the course of an entire year. Like, it's not all shot in the same week or even in the same month. So it looks like it's kind of just documenting your life.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of random footage I've accumulated through like a year.
The other thing I noticed right off the bat is everything is like so well composed. Like, things are centered, things are straight. You clearly pay attention to like lines. How are you doing that on the fly? It just seems like it's a lot of work to get just the right shot, like when you're just in documentary mode.
I use a cheat. I shoot with like a grid on my camera, so I kind of just try to make sure like the van lines are aligned with that grid.
You have the grid on always?
Just like a small one, not like a super insane one, but just like that.
Is it A7S? Is that the one? Is that the camera you're shooting on?
This video was shot with the Sony 6600, but I just upgraded to the FX30. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Oh, shit.
So I can shoot in S-Log 3 now.
Why do you like cameras? What is that fascination for you?
I don't know. I guess I just like always try to carry a camera around to like film whatever. I think there's something really special about rewatching moments. And it's cool to like set up shots like this. Like, it's really fun to like try to get something that looks aesthetically pleasing, and then playing around with the colors in post-production it's really fun, I think.
When you're going about your everyday life, are you thinking about where that's going to show up in a final product?
Most of the time, no. I'm just capturing like documenting my life and the things that happen, and maybe something like doesn't make sense, but I'll still film it because I'm like, down the line, this could be happening for a reason, and I'll realize it. But yeah.
All right, let's keep watching.
Someone I really genuinely thought I could trust recently has deeply, deeply hurt me. It was hard to process.
I mean, obviously, like, you were really hurting in that moment. Yeah, are you thinking, like, I'm really hurt right now. I'm going to set up a camera and film this pain that I'm going through.
Yeah, I was venting to my camera a lot, like, during that time in my life. Even though I had no idea what I was going to do with it. Like, I half the stuff I was like, I'm never going to even post this. I just want to talk to my camera and, like, vent. Because I didn't, at that point in my life, I, like, didn't really have anyone else to talk to about the things I was going through. So that was, like, tricky to navigate in terms of, like, how much do I put in so it doesn't feel like weird that it's online, you know? But how do I also like get the point across for the rest of the story? Because I think that was it's really vulnerable and like hard for me to watch now, but like I think it was a really important part to encapsulate like how painful that experience was, because then the rest of the video like goes on from there. And yeah.
What is this that we're looking at?
A week before I had to post the video, I realized I had like a blank section for the voiceovers. And so I ordered this like really old vintage camera off of like Etsy, like expedited it. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Yeah, it's like a vintage camera, but this lens is not actually attached to the camera. It was to my actual film camera, and I thought it looked stupid how it was just like a box. And I was like, I think it needs like the lens right there too. So it's literally like duct taped on in the shot. And then I put my laptop in front of it and got that like kind of B-roll.
So you kind of shot that as a plate and then you add like shots on top of it? Or is that actually coming through the camera?
It actually is coming through the camera. I put my laptop in front of it, and I guess that's what that camera does. It like reflects it back in the, that's the viewfinder.
Oh, so your laptop is like here. Yeah. And this is looking at your laptop, and that's on your laptop being shot on the camera, and you see it on the screen. So are you literally flashing frames of white between these memories on your laptop? Like, so you pre-edited a video, played it on your laptop, and then showed it on this camera?
Yeah, I just highlighted the image as much as possible so it like looks like a shutter clicking, I guess, and then I added in like the shutter sound effect to bring it to life more.
Right, that's in post.
Yeah, as if it's like a memory now and not like in present tense, I guess.
Interesting. Is that the idea behind the shot, that like, hey, this is something you're thinking about and remembering that already happened, and you're kind of signaling that to us as a viewer?
Yeah, because I don't want it to feel the same as the beginning where it's like the full screen of everything. Definitely like trying to show that it was in hindsight. I'm like looking back on all this now.
And why is this whole section in 4:3?
It gives more of like a memory vibe. Like there is more to the film than just this. In the movie Waves, I'm forgetting the director's name, but he uses a lot of like different aspect ratios to like show what the character is going through. And so I thought the more like boxed in feel kind of showed how like all consumed I was during this time of my life. And yeah, it honestly just looks cool too. I just liked the feel of it, because then the rest of the video is not like this.
Yeah, it makes it feel almost like it's from the 50s or something.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I had to move back home, back to this place I thought I had outgrown.
This is such a beautiful shot, because that's the first thing we saw after we heard you crying. And now we get to see how you got there. And what it just tells us is that everything we just saw, those first 2 or 3 shots, happened before you got that feeling. And it's just like a nice little throwback to that moment. Like, what's going on in your mind? Why come back to this?
You worded it like, well, yeah, I think I just wanted to like, because I knew I wanted Act 1 to start off with the clip of me in that state, but I also like knew that I needed to give context behind that and bringing it back to that moment, I guess.
Right, just reminding us. Okay.
And I was left alone at my absolute lowest.
This is the worst my mental health has like ever been. For the past 3 months, I have not been able to eat or sleep properly. Like, I'm genuinely just shocked. This is literally the most insane situation. I've never in my life been so confused. I've literally lost thousands of dollars. My camera equipment, footage I need for the whole Borderless series, everything just like fell apart. This is just like not the plan. I never wanted to be back here. I just have like no idea what I'm supposed to do now about everything, dude. Like, this is genuinely a fucking disaster.
This is going to seem like a stupid question. As you're telling us about this like disastrous moment in your life, you show coats in a closet, and you put a coat on a closet bar. Why are you showing us this?
Basically just trying to show that I like had to move back in with my family after what had happened. And obviously I didn't ever really plan to go home at that point. Like, I wanted to be living and traveling out of my van for a lot longer than I was. And so I didn't hang up my clothes for like months. Like, they were just in my van. or like in my room, like scattered on the floor. And once I had accepted the things that had happened, like months later, I finally hung up my clothes. And so it's a reenactment basically, because I needed like B-roll. Like some of these shots in this montage like are just B-roll, so I could put in the audio of explaining the context behind what happened.
Do you do that a lot? Do you do pickups sometimes in post when you realize you need to tell a particular story? And
yeah, sometimes I have to, because there's so many holes, and I'm like, I don't have enough footage to explain this or show this. So,
right.
But I never like will fake anything. It's just like, this is like obvious. It's, you know, it meant a lot to me, I guess, to put this in. But.
Totally. Yep. Okay.
I started therapy yesterday.
Your dialogue is muffled. And it's funny because your narration throughout the film is often very dark and muffled. Like that is what your voice sounds like. This, I think, the whole movie, right?
Yeah, I do some like present tense voiceovers like later on, but yeah, all of like Act 1 I would say is pretty much like a muffled like vintage effect over my voice. The more time goes on, the less I know what to think or feel.
What effect are you actually using?
I think it's called like Old TV or something. I'm forgetting the name of it, but it's in Final Cut Pro somewhere.
Okay.
I can't stop questioning now. Was it all really a lie? What even is the truth anymore?
So are you literally projecting stuff on your walls?
Yeah.
And then are you holding the camera right now?
I put it on a tripod for this. It was really hard to get it like focused and stuff, like right on the reflection.
The rim light on your hair is so nice there. That's
Thank
like
you.
such the classic shot, you know? It's like the Spielberg shot. This is the shot of
Yes. I think that's where I got it from. I got inspired by the Fablemans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally. That's the movie I was thinking of.
Depression is a relentless, haunting affliction.
Okay. Before we get into this sequence, where do you get your music from?
I get copyrighted on everything. I get all my music just off of like Spotify. I'm just like whatever I'm listening to at that time. A lot of the times I'll want to put that in because it like will remind me of that time period in my life. But yeah, off of Spotify, and then I get copyrighted. So
Do you literally like download it off of Spotify?
I think I use like illegal sites.
Yeah.
Just, like with the YouTube link.
Sure.
Stuff like that.
Just download it offline.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Okay.
Today, I realized it's been 4 months since the last time I hung out with anyone. I know it's probably not healthy to spend all this time isolating myself. But
How do you get dark shots to look so good?
I don't know. I actually didn't even, that's totally a very fair observation. I've never like actually realized that a lot of my shots are really dark.
Yeah. Even this, most of the screen, 90% of the screen is black.
I mean, this was a very dark time in my life, obviously, so I think maybe I guess I never realized that, though. That's interesting.
Hey, Natalie, it's Simon. I tried calling you earlier because basically I wanted to
I love
ask
that
you-
lighting. Is that just natural from the window?
Thank you for saying you like that lighting, because I hated the lighting job in this shot. But I got like a $15 like sunlight lamp thing. It was actually my brother's. I stole it from him to use it for the video, and I just tried to like position it. I think I reflected it off of like a mirror for some shots, but it's supposed to look like it's from a window. Yeah,
It really does. It looks like looks like you have the blinds up like one little bit.
I'm glad that you think that.
That's what I thought it was. So if you're doing that, clearly you're like lighting a shot. This is like part of the storytelling as opposed to like documenting, right?
Yeah, I definitely didn't want, because a lot of this was like filmed in my room, so I was kind of driving myself crazy with just like the normal room lighting. So I was like, I want to make it interesting or like somewhat visually stimulating.
It's maybe one of the things that makes this feel more like a movie is just that you're willing to put in the time to like get this light for this 15-second shot
Yeah.
just right to convey exactly what you're feeling. And if you do that 1,000 times for 1,000 shots over the course of a video, it just all ends up feeling consistent, and it's great.
Minute, but I'm gonna be in Canada next week, and I know you're kind of close to there, so yeah, just let me know if you're free.
Is that his actual voicemail? No way.
He sent me something pretty close to that over text, but I had to get that reenacted because I was like, I don't have anything to show this.
So did you just ask him to read that?
Yeah.
Well, I've only met Simon once.
Is that the sun?
That is the sunlight lamp again.
That's the lamp.
Yeah.
It fucking looks like the sun through the window. But that's a window, right?
Yes, it is.
It feels like 5 a.m. and you're setting out on a journey. So yeah, it's just like good storytelling.
Before, back while I was on.
What's this lighting? This is fucking beautiful. What is that up there?
The sunlight lamp again. I think I used it for like most of the shots.
Man, I gotta get this light. That sounds great.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's really hard to like position it because I didn't have like a tripod for it, but I just like duct taped it on my wall, I think.
Yeah.
And I put like, I tried to get like actual professional lighting off Amazon, like a $50 like bar light. I forget what they're called, but I put it in like my window right there. It didn't really look the best.
That's the bar light?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think the sunlight lamp was better, ironically, but
So then was this shot at night?
actually I think that it was kind of shot closer to the evening because the natural light coming in kind of messed up the like shadows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The road last year. So I really have no idea how this adventure is going to go.
Sunlight lamp?
Yes,
I don't even really know if I'm ready yet.
Do you haze the room when you shoot?
I did. Yeah, I also bought a fog
You did?
machine for this
Shut up! Oh my god, Natalie.
because I was so worried no one was gonna watch like this first half of the video. If it was just normal lighting, I wanted it to actually feel like entertaining.
Yeah, it feels okay. It's I'm starting to understand how you're able to make it feel like this. So that's haze. We're seeing a beam.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like reflected off of a mirror.
The shot, like we see camera motion for the first time in a while.
Yeah.
It switches to this documentary feel right as the bass from the track hits, and it just feels like, okay, we're out. We're on the road. Here we go. It's like a beautiful lift in the film right here.
This adventure is going to go. I don't even really know if I'm ready yet. But I think I've been through a lot the past few months, so I'm just hoping my life can only go up from here.
Chills. So well done.
Why'd you want to go on this adventure together?
Okay, something
First of
like
all,
this, like where there's other people there, like you just don't mind just walking over to the other side of the boat, setting up a camera.
I always feel bad because I'm like, for this shot, I don't know if you can tell like the reflection. There was like a gift shop in the BC ferries, and I went inside the store and I put it on like a rack of some sort, and then it like reflected off the glass. And I felt bad. People were looking at me weird, but I was with Simon, so I didn't feel like he was laughing and like Snapchatting it, and it was funny. But when I'm alone, I like can't do that. It gives me a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, I can't either. I get so self-conscious about filming in public for whatever
Same.
reason. Yeah.
But I want to get to know you better. You seem like a really cool person, and
Come on.
this is like potentially my last trip before I go back to school. So it's like whatever happens, happens, and I'm gonna enjoy it because who knows the next
What is that
time.
little bit of shake?
I put that in to feel like, you know, like Super 8 cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted it to feel like film.
So that shake is done in post.
Yeah, I added it intentionally just for like those pan in shots like that. Like,
It makes it feel destroyed, degraded, like it feels more human or something. How did you kind of think about the whole structure of the video when you were approaching the edit? Did you start with an idea for Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, or did the edit sort of form linearly as you went through the process?
I wrote everything out before editing this one. Well, mainly Act 1. Like, Act 1 was all pretty curated, I would say, because obviously that was a lot of very personal things, and I didn't want to exploit it online too much. But then Act 2, with the whole adventure with Simon, was all just a bunch of footage. Like, I kind of had to see what I could do in the edit with all that, because it was all unplanned things that happened. But I kind of knew what I like took away from that adventure with Simon. So I think it was easier to piece it together in editing, knowing like what it meant to me in hindsight.
Okay.
So for the first time in a long time, life started to feel a little less heavy.
I don't know. What do you think it takes?
Is this shot on a drone?
No, actually, I left my camera on like a hill and like just zoomed it in. We did get drone shots up here though.
This looks like it's maybe like a 200 millimeter lens or something. Like, do you carry around lenses with you?
I don't like to like do the whole like lens change thing on the fly just because it can take away from the moment a lot more. So I have like, it was a 16 by 55 or 16 to 55 millimeter lens. So I just zoomed it in, I think, as much as I could.
So this is like 55 millimeters?
Yeah.
Wow. That's so weird.
The hill helped though a lot.
Okay. It looks so much longer than that. That's so, okay, weird. I mean, it's a beautiful shot, obviously.
Like a really close connection with someone. Like what do you think it's been specifically?
I don't know why, but it seems like you're easy to open up to, easy to talk to.
Really? That's a huge compliment. Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh my
and
gosh.
I think as you get older and you kind of like move through more relationships.
Okay, so these kinds of sequences where you guys are like having these like really intimate conversations, do you just have like a ton of those and you just film them all and then you pick the best ones? Or how does that work?
We had a lot of like deep talks about life on this trip, I feel like, and we just would always, I mean, we had a lot we did not film, like just in the van, like late at night. The trip was definitely like a very big pivoting point for me because of like these conversations and like because of the lessons like Simon taught me and everything. And I just think he has a really, really special outlook on life. And he's like totally the guy that like doesn't take anything like too seriously, which is exactly what I feel like I needed during this time of my life. So all those conversations really guided me through a lot, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I just saw an otter.
You're lying.
Do you see it? Do you see it?
Oh my god, that's otter.
That's your drone shot.
As actually Simon got this. He actually helped like a lot with these shots. A lot
Wow.
of these shots are his footage too.
Wow. Come on. So are you doing all these animations yourself?
I did, yeah.
Stop-mo?
Yeah.
And you just print it out on a piece of paper?
It was a lot of work and I really underestimated how much work it would be, but I really wanted to do like the scrapbook effect because at the end I like send him a scrapbook.
Which is like such an amazing period at the end of this sentence. It's such a great tie-in to the whole feeling in film. And all these are stop-mo too, just little
I
wiggling.
had a friend
Yeah.
quite like Simon.
Very tedious.
Someone with such a vibrant personality. Someone who loves canned beefaroni so much.
I did a trip by myself from Colorado to Berkeley, California, right after graduating college. It was 2 weeks by myself in a car, and I went to a gas station and I bought 30 cans
No way.
of, I don't think it was beefaroni. It was Chef Boyardee ravioli. And I
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
and then a jar of peanut butter and 2 loaves of Wonder Bread. And that's what I ate for 2 weeks. by
You're
myself.
like Simon. That's exactly what Simon. He bought like 15 cans of beefaroni and they were like spilling out of the van every time
Yep.
we took a turn. And like, I mean, it was good, honestly. We kind of survived off of like easy meals those 2 weeks.
It was great.
Yeah.
I actually, it's so funny in retrospect, but like, I really looked forward to meals. It was really easy and tasty. Okay. this
Doesn't
is
take
not
too long to clean up either. It's pretty good to the point.
Hashtag no ads. Here we go.
Simon really just is the type of friend you can talk to about anything and
I
everything.
love that
Half the
shot.
things I'm telling you now, I would have never fucking told you when we first started this trip.
Like how Natalie admitted to having a...
No. Oh shit.
How do you feel right now?
So happy. A bit scared because it's a little sketch, but...
It's definitely a little sketch up here.
Okay,
but we're-
another thing that seems like you do is you mix dialogue from one shot with like shots and scenes and sequences of a totally different thing. Like you're grabbing a really intimate conversation from like 3 months ago and having that be the feeling of this whole thing that's unfolding before our eyes with like a beautiful song. It almost feels like a scrapbook. Like the film feels like a collage that's sort of like trying to convey an idea or something or a feeling. Is that what you're going for when you're editing?
I think maybe subconsciously, yeah. I don't know. It also just feels right because I'm like, I don't want to make anyone sit through just like a 1 minute long talking clip. So I'm like, how do I show like, the context behind these shots while like we're actually doing the thing that we're doing?
Yep.
Before our adventure together, I used to question a lot. I know you might not have even had all the answers yourself, but I've learned a lot from you. Now I understand everything a little better. I think you helped me remember just how beautiful life can really be.
Okay, how do you think you got here, Natalie? Because, like, going over your channel, a couple years ago, you were making videos that they were really good, but they sort of felt like what everybody else was doing on YouTube. And this feels so different.
I don't know. I guess like I kind of hated making stuff for the YouTube algorithm to like do well. I was like, this is so stupid. It wasn't very fulfilling. I think filming things and like editing things and seeing these projects come together is kind of like my way of making sense of my own life and like why things happen. That's been the most fulfilling, is to just like capture these like moments and memories, and then maybe in hindsight a few months later or a year later when I'm editing it, I get to like see what it all meant looking back on it.
You must shoot thousands of hours of footage.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot. I'm actually terrible about like organizing my hard drives, but normally I'll just like group like content. Like obviously like a lot of the van life content I filmed, I had like a folder and it was called like van life or like borderless. And then within that folder, there'll be like a bunch of different things like day 1, day 2, or honestly, I think I had a folder called beefaroni. So just really random way to organize it. But then that way it makes it easy to like see what labels I have on things and figure it out as I'm editing, like what scenes I'll be working with.
And you just have like 500 lacy hard drives that you store everything on?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
It's so bad when I travel. I'm like, I can't fit all my hard drives everywhere, but
yeah. And do you back them up?
Yeah, the whole borderless series I've been doing, I had a hard drive completely just crash on me, and thank the universe I backed it all up, and it was on a backup hard drive, because otherwise the whole series would have been gone.
What advice do you have for young artists, young creators, young filmmakers that want to do this? What do you think they should be thinking about?
At the end of the day, like making content for yourself or like stuff that you're really genuinely passionate about and proud of. Obviously, it feels really good to like be seen and heard and like get your videos picked up by the algorithm. But if you're not actually proud of the videos, then it's like not very fulfilling, even if they do well. So yeah, I guess just create stuff that feels authentic.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in. I know I've said it a million times, but I think you're so special and such a good filmmaker. And I'm so excited to see what you make.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah.